Hey YouTube land, Tycander here, doing another action figure review, and today we're looking at something a little different. These aren't in boxes because I got them secondhand, and what these are is a mix mash of two different series, and they are obviously, as you can tell from the figures, they are Borg drones from the Star Trek series. So we have two drones on either side, these two here, and the one in the center. The one in the center is from Diamond Select, and it's a more recent figure, where the two on either end are older figures, also by Diamond Select, I believe, when they used to be using Art Asylum as their main main company name. If I remember correctly, Art Asylum became Diamond Select, or there was some connection between the two companies. So these are kind of technically in the same scale, same genre, but they are different in aesthetics. I believe, if I just pick up one of these and look at the foot stamp, the larger two figures, which is this guy and this guy, were released in 2002, 2003, thereabouts. And hopefully this guy has something on his foot. Yes, this one, it has DST, or Diamond Select Toys, on the foot stamp, and he was released in 2019. So he's a far more recent version of a Borg drone. Now, scale wise, they should all be in around the 7-inch scale, so they're more akin to NECA style figures. So if I bring in my tape measure, you can see the middle one, who's the shortest of the two, does stand just a hair over 7-inch. This guy is a Herosian, which I believe is the same species that were in the fight in the Dominion War. And I think they were the guys that used to be, if I remember correctly, they're the guys that used to be drug dependent on the Kessel White, I think it was called, was their drug. If I'm remembering correctly, that was what this guy is. And then the guy over here is a Cardassian Borg drone, which is a kind of rarity. You don't generally see too many of the alien species being dronified or Borgified, whichever way you want to say it. And he stands just a hair under 8 inches. So they're taller than average 7-inch style figures. In fact, I will bring in, because I have him here at hand, here is McFarlane 7-inch Batman. So you can see he stands closer akin to the Diamond Select Borg drone than he does to the two on either side, but he is somewhat in scale. If you think of these guys as being augmented with extra height and stuff like that, you can get away with it, which isn't too bad. But the good stuff about there's both good and bad things on both of these figures. So the sculpt work on these are amazing. Now, there should be 3 figures in this wave. This was called the Assimilation wave, if I remember correctly, or the Assimilated species. So there was 3 Star Trek alien races that were assimilated for this line. Herosian being one, the Cardassian being the other, and the third one is a Klingon. Now, the interesting to note is that the head on this third figure is actually a Klingon head. Well, I'll get into that in a second. You get 2 head options with it. But this guy is the Herosian. As I said, he, I believe, is the guys from the Dominion War. They have a fairly distinctive look. You have all this intricate piping work. You have articulation point at the waist. You can kind of bend forward a bit. He has a kind of swivel on the shoulder, not too much give because of these shoulder pads, they do get in the way. There is a bicep swivel. There is only a single hinge, and you can see he has augmented or ocular implants. He has cranial implants all over him. He has more dronification or Borgification or whichever, more simulation done to him than the Cardassian does. You can only really tell he's Herosian by his head. He doesn't have any of his kind of other look that the Herosians have. Hand is right hand is on a swivel and a single jointed elbow. Left hand doesn't have any swivel because it is a giant, basically, block of technology. Hopefully it is showing that up there. It's one of those kind of Borg tool manipulation devices kind of thing, whatever they kind of use. And then you have his legs can kick forward. It has a single jointed knee which gets 90-degree bend, and you have a ankle that are really tight, but you have rocking, or not rocker ankles, but you just a hinge on the ankle, nothing on the foot. No peg holes on the bottom, and you can see it does says Art Asylum. You can see he has quite fairly big blocky feet, and he has some nice detailing going on. Again, he is covered in just pipes, wires, and all manner of Borgification stuff. Getting on to the Cardassian, is much the same. He has a fantastic head sculpt. You can see the distinctive Cardassian head shape. You even have those kind of weird kind of scaling that they have going up their necks on underneath him, as that he doesn't have as much of the assimilation as the Ferocian. You can still see he has his regular Cardassian hand, just with extra nodules or Borg implants going through him. His eye has a ocular implant, and again cranial implants all over, and it just looks really well done. His left arm is the Borg device arm. So you have the swivel, you have the bicep swivel, you have the single jointed elbow, but no bend on that. There's a lot of piping. It is one thing to notice: be careful with the piping. They are pliable, but they could snap. But he has some articulation on this hand, so he has a hinge here where this little claw device is, and then he has a hinge here and here for this other kind of claw device. So, and then he has piping running all the way around. He has that same waist swivel. He has similar foot, leg, forward and back, and single jointed knees, which are really tight on this one, and he does have those ankles which are really tight. Interesting enough, he actually has toes on one foot and kind of a boot on the other, so he has, you can see how much of the assimilation has gone on through him. He's a lot more assimilated than the third figure, even though the third figure does have quite a lot. These guys seem to have a lot more kind of technical detailing going on compared to the third figure, even though they are technically sort of in the same scale together to each other. So this is the third figure, and the third figure is intended to be a army builder of sorts. So you have some nice detailing, sculpt work going all around. You have this removable carapace piece, so you can have him with this style of Borg drone body. He does have a Klingon head. There is an alternate head. It's another alien species head, which I can't remember the name of it, but it's the one with that kind of weird ridge line going all the way along the front of their heads. I think, is it Breen? No, it's not Breen. I can't remember the name of that specific species, but he does have a little bit more articulation and a little less in places. So he does have a arm swivel and a hinge. Now you don't get too much on the hinge because it does hit off basically the shoulder or armory place, or the armor part. Head is on a ball joint. You get a lot more range of movement on the head on these guys. Cardassian does have a ball jointed head as well. He does have single jointed elbow with a wrist swivel and a hinge on the wrist, depending which one you have in. He has a Borg device for one arm, but the thing about this is it is intended to be swappable. So you have an alternate plain arm. You have an armor plate that comes off, so if you strip him down to his kind of bare bones part, you can have him looking like a just regular guy with a kind of Borgified head. He comes with 2 alternate Borg attachment arms. There's this one that looks like it's some sort of laser cannon or something. It looks like these are machine gun barrels, to be blunt, but has the kind of small bladed device on the side. And then the other one he comes with is this actual bladed kind of pincher looking device. So these are intended to be swapped out with arms. So if you wanted to, the arms just pop straight out. If you wanted to be completely cruel and have them completely Borgified, you can have them without any kind of human arm. You have them with 2 Borg implant arms. You can swap the implant arms to either side. I don't think there is a dedicated left and right. There is obviously dedicated left and right normal hand. And you can have them like that. In fact, this is, no, I don't think this pops out, so you could swap around the wrists as well. But you have the Borg looking implant device for his left or right, depending which arm you want to put it on. It's up to yourself, which is cool. You can have that armored up look as well, or that Borg shell or whatever you want to call it. So you can, there is a lot of potential army building. It is, as I said, intended to be sort of an army builder. So if you had multiples of these guys, you'd have different versions, and the fun doesn't stop there. So not only do you have all those arm attachments and the shoulder armor plate, you have those 2 heads, and on top of those 2 heads you have ocular implants for each Borg. So there are specific ones for the Borg head, so there is a dedicated left and right one. So for this alien species, which I can't remember the name of, there is a small peg hole on the back of the eyepiece, and the way they did this is the eyes are actually hollow, so that plugs straight into the eye. And then on various parts on the head there is extra holes, like as you can see on the top of this one, there's an extra hole for these 2 bits of piping to plug into. So you can have this one on this head. For the alternate head, I think is it this one? I believe, yes, it is this one. So this one again has a peg for the eyepiece. It plugs straight over the eye. There is a small pipe that goes into the side here, and you have an eyepiece that goes like that. And then his alternate one, I think this is the right one, let me just double check. Yeah, I believe this is the alternate one, so you could have them with double eyepieces. You have an other piece that goes there and gives them that style eyepiece. I'm not sure if this one's actually swappable for either side, because it just plugs straight into the eye. There is a bit of a big chunky piece at the side. So let me see if we can swap it around. You can kind of swap it around. I think it looks a little off. I think it's really only intended to be the one side, because there is a kind of indent for the eye where it sits just inside. I'm not sure if you can see that there, but it sits just inside one spot. But you can give him that eyepiece, give him an alternate eyepiece. And then for this guy, this eyepiece is actually slightly broken. The peg is actually missing on it, and it's not embedded, but there's 2 pipes coming off that sit into a spot up here, and it will just sit nicely enough in the eye socket area. So you can take this one out. You can have an alternate eyepiece as well. So just take these out. They are a little fiddly, but they do look really good. I'm going to swap out the heads. So the head is just on a large ball peg. You can swap on the head that you want. It just snaps in place. And then you will get, where are you? We'll get this one. Is that the right one? Yes, that is the right one. And it does look a little unsightly with this head, because you have those 2 extra holes at the top where the pipe goes into for the other piece. And just get that to fit a little bit better. It does fit. Oop. Just get it into the socket. But it can fit there, no bother, and it looks pretty good. So all in all, you have some really good options with this one. As I said, it's the more newer of the 3. It was released in 2019. Well, according to the foot stamp, it was released in 2019. It may have been released maybe a year after or a year beforehand. Well, I would imagine a year after. But it might have gotten a reissue as well. I don't know if it is. I know they did a Locutus of Borg figure as well in that line, and I think they did a couple of next gen characters. I think they did a Picard, and I want to say they did a Riker or a Worf. I can't remember, but I have a feeling they did a few figures in this particular line. The Borg one was the most interesting one to me because it had so many options. But overall, it is a really cool figure. So all in all, the Borg figure is actually really nice from this line. If you pick it up, it's I think it should be reasonably cheap. It shouldn't be too expensive on the secondary market. These guys, you can generally get all three for maybe around 120-ish, thereabouts. So it is up to yourself if you want to go down that route. As far as I'm aware, the Cardassian one might be the more rarer of the three. He's harder to get for some reason. I've seen loads of listings for the Hirogen and the Klingon, and I do intend picking up the Klingon figure. Just have the triple set. But all in all, they're a nice figure, and if you want something that looks cool on the shelf and looks sci-fi on the shelf, they actually fit the bill quite nicely. Even if you're not a huge fan of Star Trek, but you're a fan of Borg and the overall design of the Borg, these guys are actually really good. So there you go, guys. There's a quick video review of the Borg drones from Art Asylum and the ones from Diamond Select. As I believe they are one and the same company along the way somewhere, so they are technically all in the same genre or same timeline. I believe these guys are more designed to look like the ones from First Contact and the more movie-esque, where these guys are just kind of like concept style ones, because as far as I know, there was never any real alien species other than crew members that were on the ships at the time, like other Starfleet crew that would have been assimilated. You don't generally see many other non-Starfleet personnel getting assimilated, but these are a nice, cool concept. So do I recommend them if you can get them for reasonable prices? I do. Unfortunately, these are now in the secondary market areas unless they reissue them along the line sometime. Diamond Select do have a tendency of reissuing stuff. Most notably, they reissued the Marvel Select stuff a lot, but outside of that, I don't know if they reissue a lot of their other stuff. I'm still waiting on them to reissue those real Ghostbusters figures, if they ever will. And I'm still waiting for them to finish off their Pulp Fiction line, which is probably never going to happen either. So there you go, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully by the time I get this uploaded, it will be just in time for New Year. So if I haven't uploaded another video between now and New Year's, have a good New Year's. I hope you have a wonderful 2024 and everything that comes with it, and hopefully I will be dropping more videos soon and more videos for the new year. So have a good New Year's. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I hope you like, comment and subscribe, and please feel free, if you can, to share this video so I can get some more subscribers and more likes for the New Year's. So cheers, guys, and have a good one. Thanks.